Hi guys, Bradley here. This is part 2 of the Walking Dead contrast comparison video. Part 1 is annotation right here somewhere on the screen. I will put it here, even better. Part 1 of this is on the, click on the annotation right here on the Rick Grimes for the annotation. And enjoy the video. They see a zombie munching on a deer, called a deer. And so they see it, and then Rick got to thinking, what's the difference between the zombies and us? And they're like, well, you know, they see you, they'll come at you, but they don't have good eyesight. And they hear you, they definitely come check out the noise. But then they go, the biggest difference between them and us is that they smell horrible. They smell like the dead, because they are indeed dead. And Rick was like, you know what? I guess if we want to sneak in there, we're going to have to do it this way. So what they do is that's when they chop it up. And Rick was in there with a hatchet just going to town on the zombie. And he covered him and Glenn in it. Which Glenn pukes on himself. And Rick goes, it's okay. It probably helped the smell will get worse anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. So they walk back in the city and make it to the gun store. They get past the safer parts and get into the city, and it's surrounded just like in the TV show. They bust in the door to a gun shop. That's what in the book, got covered up in guts and went and did. And they walked in there, and of course it kind of it caused some of them to pay attention because they were in there and they wasn't just rambling kind of mindlessly. They were actually doing stuff. And they were getting noticed a little bit. But it wasn't bad enough that they had to attack or do anything like that. So they found a buggy and they loaded up full of guns and ammo. They're walking out, and just like in the show, it starts to rain. And of course washes it off, and it gets frantic. They're trying to fight their way there. They're pretty close to getting back in the clear. And so they're getting surrounded. They got surrounded kind of quick, and when they did, one of them bites down on Rick's jacket and catches this little flap thing some jackets have and bites it off. So Rick already thinks he's bitten. He's freaking out, but he's like, man, first things first, we got to get these guns back to the people. So they haul tail. They get out, barely, and they make it to to basically that same fence line where that zombie was propped up, and they make it there. And when they walk through the area, first thing Rick does, jerks off the jacket and looks to see if he got bit. Freaked out, like, oh, thank you, God. That's when he turns to Glenn and tells Glenn, don't tell Lori, because Lori's character, for the most part in the book, is a bitch. She's just she's real hateful and spiteful and just kind of bitches about everything. She thinks that, she just come off like a needy little bitch. She just want things her way, and that's it. I don't care what you want. I want things my way, and that's kind of how she is in the book. Oh yeah, and by the way, she's more Asian looking in the book than she is on the show. And Rick has red hair, not black hair. That's something that's weird to me, or that people don't really know unless they read the books. So anyways, they go back, they get the guns, and Rick's idea again is to arm everybody. And of course Shane's kind of going along with some of this. He still don't like the fact that, they're pretty much leaning on Rick now, and they're like, well, you're older, this new guy is better than you. Even though nobody says that, but starting to listen to Rick a lot more. He gives everybody guns, they go out and do shooting practice, and you find out Andrea, which is actually probably more like 25 instead of like 35. She's like around my age, or a little bit younger than me actually in the book, which is crazy. She winds up being one of the better shooters, a little bit better than Rick and Shane, as in she's dead on almost every time. And didn't go through the whole craziness that Shane put her through to learn to shoot. She learned how to shoot, like everybody else. Then Rick gets the idea and hands one to Carl. Of course, heavier stipulations with Carl having a gun than that, and of course Lori gets a bitch about that. And she don't like it, but they teach him how to shoot and how to handle it, and Carl is a productive member with his gun, which is great. They had a real good day. They had a real good hunting trip. Shane and Rick would go hunting. They had a real good hunting trip. and brought a lot of food back. So they were celebrating. They actually have good food for once. And of course, like in the show, you know, where you had the Merle thing where Merle got messed up, cut his hand off and all that. Of course, since that character was in the book, that never happened. That was a pretty good twist because, you know, you still have people, unfortunately, like that. It seems like in any horror, anything or end of the world, you always have some crazy bastard guy that's going to be a part of a group that is he's worth having around, but it's almost like his bizarre, crazy bigotry behavior. You're like, man, I should have just let you die, but I'm being a better human than you are right now, kind of thing. That never happened in the book, and that was a pretty good little twist. Another thing that since Rick never dropped the bag in Atlanta, they never had to go back and get it. Of course, then they never had, and this is probably why I liked it better at first, but you never had the gang or supposed gang of people, of the Hispanic people that lived in the area, that you never had that interaction with them. And the leader of that group was a character that Robert Kirkman made up by himself. So, you know, that was kind of cool. He saved something. He put his little bit on it too, so it wasn't just the writers changing everything. He threw something in there that to me was a positive for the show. I like how it showed that people have bad misconceptions about other people just based on certain stereotypes and wound up being wrong. I like that. That pretty much everybody that worked that was there were the maintenance people and the cooking people that, you know, had a heart for helping others. And all the people, the nurse people and the high up people thought they were better than everybody else, the ones who left. You know, but it was that part. I wish they'd kind of one of those. I wish they'd go back later and add it into the books if they can. Somehow add that into the books. Just like if I hope they added Daryl in the books, that'd be great. Anyway, so they didn't have the weapons exchange or nothing like that, and they never had to worry about Daryl. So they get back after that trip, and everything's okay. Of course, in the show, when they get back from the trip, is when the zombie crap hit the fan. In the books, like I said, they're celebrating, and Amy goes to the bathroom, and that's when the zombie crap breaks loose, and they go through, and you know everybody's fighting it off, which is funny because Lori was so against Carl having a gun that she stayed pissed at Rick for a while, treated him like shit, and then all of a sudden she's trying to protect, you know, her little area and keep them off of her and the kids. She was helping watch the kids. And then all of a sudden, one comes up and she goes to shoot it. She drops the gun or the gun jams. I can't remember which. And then Carl comes up, bam, kills the zombie. Perfect. Just, you know, no better, about as good as anybody else is doing. Just drops it. One shot. And that's when she realized Rick was right. And then she gets pissed at Rick because he was right. It made no sense. But, of course, just like in the show, Jim gets bit and Amy dies. Andrea's sister dies. I do believe Rick, I don't remember for sure if it was Andrea who took care of the problem or if it was Rick who did it for her. But whoever did it, she didn't get upset at them doing it. You know, she was more upset that she lost her sister. That was the event that pretty much had everybody side with Rick, and Rick decides we're not staying here in the open. We need something better to stay up against, and that what causes the group to get up and leave. Well, right before they were getting ready to leave, that was the straw that broke Shane's back. You know, he was like, "I'm done. I want things back the way they were, and they can't go back to the way they were if you're still around." And that scene in the show where Rick and Shane were hunting, and Shane pulls his gun up on Rick, and Dale catches him and is like, "Man, what you do?" That didn't happen quite like that. Instead of Dale, it was Carl, and they were going out hunting. He tells him, like, you know, I had everything. I had everybody listened to me. They looked up to me. He goes, Lori loved me, and Carl was loving me too. He's like, they won't do that as long as you're still here. And the only way I'm going to get that back is for you to go away. And he goes to kind of shoot at Rick. And Rick kind of is caught aside by it. He let his guard down. You know, it's not like in the show where he had a feeling that Shane was going to turn on him. He kind of turned on him pretty quick. You know, not pretty quick, but turned on him where he didn't realize before almost it was too late that Shane's going to take him out. He's tired. Shane didn't want him around. And it was Carl, not Rick, that killed Shane in the book. This is one of the scenes that they probably was never going to be able to show unless they did it the way they did it, for the most part. There was no way they were going to have Shane get killed by Carl. And, you know, like, human get shot in the neck and die. Not like shoot as a zombie and die, but as a human and get shot and die. Which I was really glad to see that's how they did it in the second season. How they killed Shane was that even though Rick killed him, Shane took him out. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. You know, they kept it in there for the fans, and I was really wanting to see if they were going to do that. And they did, and I was pleased with the way they did it, but I wish they could have done it like in the books, but that would have caused too much of a controversy. Anyways, that's, you know, and especially after Shane died, that was when, okay, we're done here, we need to leave. And so they leave, and it's getting close to winter by this point, which winter had played into effect of why some of the zombies slowed down, because, you know, they're dead. Certain body parts on humans run better when, you know, because we're alive, we're moving, and we're doing stuff, where the zombies are pretty much kind of maybe take a step every 10, 15 minutes. And, of course, blood pooling up in the body where it's not pumping no more and stuff like that, you know, has adverse effects. You know, if you think about it, the human blood system didn't keep it going. Certain things would happen to humans if they could live through it and experience it. I'm fairly certain. The fight that Shane and Rick kept having in the book was Shane wanted to stay next to Atlanta so when help come they could find him easier. Rick wanted to get away from Atlanta because it's so bad. Eventually they'd probably wind up having to deal with what they dealt with the city would come out of the city after, you know, eventually. So they wanted to, you know, he wanted to be somewhere safer. Whereas in the show, Shane wanted to go to, I think, Fort Benning, and Rick wanted to go to CDC. Like I said, this one ends when they leave. They do like a funeral service for the people that died. They did drop Jim off by the side. I don't think they dropped him off the side of the road. He was about to die. You know, about the same time they were leaving. So everybody pretty much left, and a couple of them took him and put him up against a tree. They didn't tie him to the tree like they did in the show, but put him up against a tree and was going to let him go and die and turn to a zombie. He was hoping as a zombie, he'd be able to go back and see his family, basically what it boiled down to. And Jim never went crazy and dug all the holes in the book. That never happened in the book. And that was a good way to probably character develop Jim, which made Jim a more valuable character to me in the show than he did when they did him in the book, which sucked. Another thing that the show did that went completely in the book was, like I said, they wound up doing what Shane wanted, or not Shane, but Rick wanted to go to the CDC. That never happened. And the whole thing with Dr. Jasper and getting trapped in the CDC and it blowing up and all that never ever happened. By this point in time, as we're seeing some in 2, which is a little bit later, I'll cover more about this when I do for season 2, but some of the stuff in season 2 was that come out in season 2 was kind of happened in the book more than it happened in the show earlier. The whole T-Dog thing too wasn't there. T-Dog's another one I just now thought of that I didn't think of before that wasn't there. And that was in the show but not in the book. All them, whether Andrea trying to kill herself, that never really happened in the book. Not to her. Yeah, not to her. The character they drew that kind of attitude from in the book is different. Now I'll cover that in a later episode, a later version too. It was, the book was better. I like how it ended on kind of the down note where they pretty much they moved on to where the book ended. I like the fact that they eventually did find their own little way in the show to leave Atlanta. It was pretty good without a lot of that. They still don't know in the book at this point in time in the book that if you die you come back. They didn't know that, and which that and Donna and Alan and the twins have a bigger part to play in the show in the books in later times. That I'm hoping they add them in here soon or something, just to kind of do that. Michonne don't show up to I think volume 3, which Michonne, for those of you who don't know, is the chick with the 2 zombies chained up behind her with the samurai sword. She's awesome. And I was so excited when I saw her too. I'm like, it's Michonne! Oh yeah! Oh, but like I said, if you haven't read the books, read the books. They're great. Yeah, it's a comic book. Yeah, you're reading comics, but who cares? You're reading. It got a lot of feeling. I remember there'll be one part in the series, in the book series. I know for now. I don't know if they'll do it in the show yet, but in the book, made me so mad. I put the book down for like 2-3 months. I had to back order 2 or 3 of the books because I got so mad and like so freaked out at what happened. I was like, oh, that's so wrong. That's so messed up. Oh. Kind of reminded me of some of the crap on the anime I watched, Elfen Lied. That like I said, that freak through your head. If you want to, you can leave a comment down below. Suggestions of what I might have missed about the show, the comparison and contrast of the show and the books. If I messed any names up, you can go on there and put it down there. I think I have a couple times. I think this is the 5th time I've done this, so I think I've finally ironed out most of the books. I don't think forgetting names is bad. The show names, people's names I don't know as well as the book names. But I've been reading these people's names in the books for a little while, so it kind of easier for me to keep up with. If you have any comments, questions, leave them. Like I said, leave them in the comment section below. Like my video, give it a thumbs up, bash in that thumb button like you would bashing in a zombie's head to kill the brain. Subscribe, hit that subscribe button, shoot it like a sharpshooter. If you're watching this on Facebook and Google+, you can leave any comments you have there in that section that allows you to do that. If you see this video via Twitter, retweet it, put me out there. Hey, if you got a question or comment, tweet it to me. I think my Twitter is BC Acadian Reaper. I think the BCA is all in caps. It's my Twitter. My YouTube is Acadian Reaper, obviously. If you're watching this on YouTube, you know this already. I'll put a link, I think, to my Facebook and my Google Plus in there because I don't want to give that directly out. It's still a private one. I might do more of a public figure one, so I can keep trolling people from off my personal stuff. And I will see y'all next time. I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you learned something from the video. And like I say, pick up a book. Amazon, bookstores, comic book stores will have most of these. Even Walmart has volume 1 and 2. Oh yeah, that reminds me. One more cool thing I noticed. In its own topic. I'll be right back. Awesomeness I saw at work, and like I said, they should be pretty much available everywhere as long as I have them in stock. Walking Dead figures. Me, geek, collect things, right up my alley. And what's even cooler is it's, you know, this is from the show, this ain't from the books, which I do believe McFarlane has a line that does straight from the books too. So I have a Rick Grimes. They make a comic book version of him. I want that. And of course, there's the favorite additional character, Daryl. Like I said, I really hope they put him in the show. But hey, if you find these, get you some. And they're kind of rare because I think we got a couple of boxes in like a week ago at work. And I got lucky. I got the last Rick. No, 2 Ricks, because I got one for me and one for Jacob. He's my kid. He likes the same thing I do. What can I say? And I got the last Daryl, but the Daryl's mine. Jacob can have a zombie. And they got 2 zombies. They have the zombie from the bus and another zombie that's chewing. It looks recognizable, but I can't say for sure. But they're awesome. They're available, I guess, wherever toys are sold or a hobby shop or wherever you go to get your stuff. Okay, that's it. All I got. Bye. Peace.